You know, life has a powerful way of warning us long before the real damage begins. It starts quietly, a little stiffness in the knees when you get out of bed, a small ache in your lower back when you sit too long, a tightness in your fingers when the weather changes, and each time you brush it off, you tell yourself it's just age, you tell yourself it's normal, but deep down, you know that pain steals something from you. It steals your confidence, it steals your mobility, it steals your peace. What most people never realize is that inflammation is not just discomfort, it is a silent thief, a thief that slowly robs you of the life you were meant to live. But here's the truth that almost nobody hears: pain is not your destiny, inflammation is not your identity, and the relief you've been searching for may already be sitting quietly in your kitchen, waiting for you to discover it. Today, I want to show you 4 simple spices that have the power to shut down inflammation, soothe joint pain, and restore mobility in ways that surprise even people who have been suffering for decades. These are not hidden ingredients, not expensive supplements, and not complicated remedies. They are natural tools created by nature, designed with healing in every molecule, and the most powerful part. When you learn how to use them correctly, they can work not in months, not in weeks, but often within minutes. So stay with me until the end, because the final spice is one almost nobody uses the right way, yet it carries more healing power than entire shelves of pain relief products. First spice is a golden gift from the earth, one that has been used for thousands of years to fight inflammation: turmeric. But turmeric alone is not what makes the difference. Inside turmeric lies curcumin, a compound so potent it can switch off inflammatory pathways at their root. This is not temporary surface-level relief. This is deep internal healing. But here's what most people get wrong. Turmeric cannot work at its best unless it's combined with a tiny amount of black pepper. Just a pinch can boost absorption by up to 2,000%. It's like unlocking a door that's been closed for years. Once that door opens, the healing reaches parts of your body that have been craving relief for far too long. The second spice is ginger, a root that acts like a fast-responding warrior inside the body. When inflammation is screaming and pain signals are firing, ginger steps in like a natural painkiller. It reduces inflammatory chemicals faster than many over-the-counter pills, but without the harsh side effects. Ginger doesn't just dull pain, it improves circulation, sending warm, nutrient-rich blood to your stiff joints, tight muscles, and inflamed tissues. A warm ginger drink in the morning can transform how your body feels throughout the day. Movements that once felt heavy suddenly feel lighter. Steps that once hurt suddenly become easier. Ginger was created not just to flavor food, but to fuel healing. The third spice, cinnamon, is far more powerful than most people realize. We think of it as something to sprinkle on desserts, but cinnamon is a natural circulation booster. When blood flow increases, healing increases. Joints begin to soften, swelling begins to shrink, stiffness begins to melt. Cinnamon also balances blood sugar, and when your blood sugar is stable, inflammation naturally decreases. This spice helps limit oxidative stress, the internal rust that wears down joints over time. With better circulation and less stress on your tissues, your body finally gets the chance to repair what inflammation has been damaging for years. Then comes the fourth spice, and this is where most people lean in. Cloves, the tiny, overlooked spice that carries one of the highest antioxidant levels found in any food on the planet. Cloves don't just reduce inflammation, they shut it down fast. They also contain natural compounds that numb pain, soothe tissues, and neutralize free radicals that attack the joints every day. Even a small pinch of cloves added to tea can bring noticeable relief. And when combined with the other 3 spices, the effect becomes far stronger than using any single ingredient alone. Now here's where everything comes together. Using these spices individually helps, but using them together creates a complete joint healing system. Each one plays a role. Turmeric reduces deep inflammation. Ginger calms the nerves and enhances mobility. Cinnamon improves circulation so healing can reach the places that hurt most. Cloves provide the antioxidant force that protects your joints long term. 1 teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of ginger, a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon, and a tiny pinch of cloves. mixed into warm water or morning tea, can transform the way you feel not over years, but starting tomorrow. Your body is not failing you, it is speaking to you, and these spices are nature's way of giving you the tools you need to listen, repair, and rebuild. Tomorrow morning, don't start your day with pain. Start it with power, with intention, with knowledge. Relief begins the moment you decide it begins, and your journey back to strength starts with 4 simple spices that have been waiting, quietly, patiently, for you to finally use them. Ginger, this is not just a root, not just something you slice into a cup of tea or mix into a dish. Ginger is one of the most underestimated gifts nature has ever placed on this earth. It is fiery, bold, and full of life, and the moment it enters your body, it begins working with an intensity that surprises people who have been living with pain for years. Think about the times when pain suddenly strikes, the kind that shoots through your knee when you stand up, or the stiffness that grabs your lower back when you bend, or that deep, burning ache in your fingers when they just refuse to move the way they once did. These are not random discomforts, they're signals. They're your body's way of calling for help, and ginger listens to that call immediately. The moment you consume ginger, it begins targeting the very chemicals responsible for pain and inflammation. Your body releases compounds when it's injured or stressed, compounds that trigger swelling, stiffness, and discomfort. For some people, these chemicals switch on and never fully turn off. But ginger contains natural agents, powerful ones, that begin reducing those inflammatory signals faster than many of the pills people rely on. It's almost like ginger steps inside your system and starts whispering to those overactive pain signals, "Calm down, relax, stand down." And your body responds. What makes ginger extraordinary is that it does not simply cover up pain. It doesn't mask it, it addresses it. It deals with the root, the inflammation deep inside the tissues, the irritation around the joints, the tightness in the muscles that have been overworked, overstressed, and undernourished for years. And while it's doing all of that inside your body, ginger is also boosting circulation. That warm sensation you feel in your throat and chest when you drink ginger tea, that's not a coincidence. That warmth is life. It is movement. It is circulation expanding, opening, and flowing into areas that have been starved of warmth and nutrients for far too long. Good circulation is one of the foundations of healing. When fresh blood reaches your joints, your tissues receive oxygen. Your muscles loosen, stiffness fades, and the heaviness in your limbs begins to lift. This is why so many people who drink ginger in the morning experience a noticeable difference in how their body moves throughout the day. Ginger almost seems to wake up the joints, remind them of what they were built to do, and restore a sense of freedom in the body that many thought they lost forever. But ginger does something even deeper. It interrupts the pain communication between your brain and your nerves. When inflammation irritates a joint, the nerves send messages of pain upward, and your brain interprets that signal as something to fear, something to protect. That's why you might avoid bending, avoid walking long distances, avoid using a certain part of your body. But ginger calms those nerves. It lowers the intensity of those pain messages, and over time, your brain begins to relax its grip. Your joints stop bracing themselves, and movement becomes easier again. Imagine waking up and not feeling that familiar tension in your knees. Imagine standing up from a chair without that sudden bolt of discomfort shooting through your leg. Imagine walking upstairs without grabbing the railing for support. Ginger makes those moments possible not because it's magic, but because it works with your body, not against it. And the beauty of ginger is that your body recognizes it instantly. It doesn't treat it like a foreign chemical, it treats it like nourishment. Ginger contains antioxidants that fight the very stress that ages your joints and weakens your tissues. It brings calm where there is inflammation, warmth where there is stiffness, and movement where there is limitation. When you slice ginger into hot water, or grate it into a dish, or chew a small piece raw, you are giving your body a message: heal, restore, rebuild, and your body listens, it responds, it softens, it loosens, it improves. Ginger isn't just a spice, it's a partner in your healing. It's something that chooses to work with your body every time you consume it. And once you experience that relief, the easing of pain, the improvement in movement, the shift in how your body feels, you begin to understand just how powerful this simple root truly is. Cinnamon, a spice most people think of as something to sprinkle on desserts, a warm aroma in the kitchen, a flavor from childhood memories. But beneath that familiar scent lies one of the most underestimated healing tools on the planet. Cinnamon carries a quiet power, a strength that reveals itself the moment it enters your bloodstream. You feel it not just as taste, but as movement, as life. And when your body is struggling with joint pain, stiffness, or inflammation, movement is the very thing that begins the healing process. Think for a moment about the role circulation plays in your body. Every cell, every tissue, every joint depends on blood flow. Without good circulation, your joints starve. They don't get enough oxygen. They don't get enough nutrients. They don't receive the materials they need to repair, rebuild, and fight inflammation. Poor circulation is like shutting the lights off in a room that still has people inside. The activity is still happening, but everything becomes more difficult, slower, darker. Now imagine a spice that switches those lights back on. A spice that wakes your body up from the inside, warms your joints, improves blood flow, and helps healing ingredients reach the places that have been ignored for years. That spice is cinnamon. What makes cinnamon extraordinary is the way it immediately begins enhancing circulation. When cinnamon enters your system, your blood vessels respond. They open, they relax, they expand, allowing more blood to flow through with ease. This is why people describe feeling warmth after consuming cinnamon. That warmth is evidence that healing is beginning. That warmth is your body saying, I can move again. That warmth is the sign of life returning to areas that have been stiff, cold, or numb from chronic inflammation. Inflammation thrives in stagnation. It thrives where blood flow is weak, where tissues are starved, where nutrients have difficulty reaching. But cinnamon disrupts that stagnation. It pushes energy forward. It sends blood rushing into the tight areas, the knees that ache when you climb stairs, the hands that feel swollen when you wake up, the lower back that stiffens when you stand too long. Cinnamon invites circulation to flow into these neglected places. And once that circulation arrives, healing begins from the inside out. But circulation is only part of cinnamon's story. Cinnamon also has a powerful effect on oxidative stress that's slow, internal rusting that erodes joint tissue over time. Oxidative stress causes wear and tear, weakens cartilage, and speeds up the aging of the joints. Cinnamon contains natural antioxidants that fight this damage like a shield. Every time you consume cinnamon, you send those antioxidants into your body like a cleanup team, clearing out the harmful byproducts that have been accelerating your pain. With less oxidative stress, your joints get a chance to recover instead of continually breaking down. Cinnamon also stabilizes blood sugar, and you may wonder, what does that have to do with inflammation and joint pain? Everything. When blood sugar fluctuates wildly, inflammation spikes. It becomes harder for your body to maintain balance. It becomes easier for swelling to develop around the joints, easier for pain to become chronic, easier for stiffness to take over. Cinnamon helps bring that balance back. It keeps your body from swinging into those spikes that fuel inflammation. And when your blood sugar is balanced, your inflammation naturally reduces. The pain signals that once felt constant begin to soften. The stiffness that once felt unavoidable begins to fade. What's beautiful about cinnamon is how effortlessly it fits into daily life. A small amount, even a quarter teaspoon, has the power to influence your blood flow, your healing, and your pain levels. Added to warm water, sprinkled into tea, stirred into a morning drink, or blended into food, cinnamon becomes more than a spice. It becomes a habit of healing. It becomes a message you send your body every morning. Today we repair. Today we move better. Today we feel better. And the truth is, your body wants to heal, it always has. But it can only heal when it receives the right support. Cinnamon becomes that support. It becomes the gentle nudge your circulation needs, the antioxidant force your joints need, the balance your blood needs. It reminds your body what it feels like to function the way it was always meant to. So each time you taste that familiar warmth, each time you feel that subtle rise in energy, Remember that cinnamon is doing more inside you than you will ever see, opening pathways, bringing flow, calming inflammation, lowering stress, and restoring vitality one drop of circulation at a time. Cloves, such a small spice, almost weightless in your hand, yet carrying a depth of strength that most people will never fully appreciate. You look at a clove and you see something tiny, something simple, something that seems too insignificant to matter. But life has a way of hiding its most powerful gifts in the smallest places, and cloves are one of those gifts, quiet, humble, but extraordinarily potent once they enter your body. When you consume cloves, you're not just adding flavor to a drink or a dish. You're unleashing one of the greatest antioxidant forces found in nature. And when your joints ache, when inflammation is burning, when pain has been weighing down your movements for far too long, those antioxidants matter more than you realize. Inflammation doesn't appear overnight. It builds, it layers itself in your joints, in your tissues, in the spaces between your bones. It lingers after injuries, grows with stress, deepens with age. Pain shows up when inflammation has overstayed its welcome. And the cause of much of that inflammation is oxidative stress, the slow, quiet damage caused by free radicals that weaken cells, irritate tissues, and accelerate aging from the inside out. Cloves carry a substance called eugenol, one of the most powerful natural antioxidants known. The moment cloves enter your system, eugenol goes to work, neutralizing that oxidative stress, calming those irritated tissues, cooling the fire that inflammation has been feeding for years. People who use cloves regularly often describe something surprising relief that feels deeper, calmer, and more internal than anything they've felt before. That's because cloves don't work on the surface. They work where the problem truly begins. They reach into the areas behind the pain, the inflammation beneath the stiffness, the stress hiding behind the swelling. Cloves don't just ease discomfort. They help dismantle the very causes of that discomfort. But what makes cloves even more extraordinary is their natural ability to soothe pain instantly. Cloves contain compounds that gently numb pain receptors, providing relief in a way that feels almost soothing, almost comforting. If you've ever had tooth pain and used clove oil, you know the powerful calming effect it brings within seconds. Now imagine that same numbing, calming influence applied to your joints, your muscles, your tissues. Imagine that relief spreading from the inside, quieting the discomfort you've been carrying for years. That is the power cloves bring to your body, and cloves don't stop there. They fight bacteria, they reduce swelling, they improve circulation, and they support overall immunity, because inflammation is not just a physical issue, it's an internal environment. When your body is overwhelmed, tired, inflamed, or stressed, healing slows. Cloves help shift that environment. They help bring balance where there has been imbalance, calm where there has been irritation, strength where there has been weakness. Every time you consume even a pinch of cloves, you send your body a message: I'm giving you the support you need to fight back. What makes cloves especially powerful for joint pain is how effectively they combine with other spices. When cloves are used alongside turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon, they act like a force multiplier, amplifying the healing properties of everything around them. Turmeric reduces deep inflammation. Ginger improves mobility and calms nerves. Cinnamon boosts circulation. And then cloves step in to protect everything those spices are working so hard to repair. It's like building a shield around the healing process, allowing your body to recover without interruption. Cloves may be tiny, but their strength is enormous. Even their aroma is bold, sharp, warm, unmistakably alive. And that boldness is reflected in what they do for your health. Most people don't realize that the spice they walk past in the cabinet is one of the most anti-inflammatory, antioxidant-rich foods in existence. It doesn't take a tablespoon, it doesn't take a handful. Sometimes it only takes a pinch to begin shifting how your body feels. Imagine adding cloves to your morning tea and feeling your joints loosen their grip. Imagine warmth spreading into stiff areas that haven't moved freely in years. Imagine pain softening, calming, dissolving, not because of chemicals, not because of temporary numbing, but because nature is finally doing what nature does best. Cloves remind us that healing doesn't always come from big, complicated solutions. Sometimes it comes from something small, something simple, something ancient, something powerful, something that has been waiting in your kitchen cabinet for far too long. And once you begin using cloves consistently, once you feel that internal shift, once you feel that pain begin to release, you understand why this tiny spice has been treasured for centuries. Cloves are not just a spice. They are a quiet warrior against inflammation, a guardian against pain, a partner in your healing, and the moment you allow them into your daily life, your body begins the journey back to strength, back to comfort, back to the freedom of movement you thought was gone forever. When you bring these 4 spices together, turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, and cloves, you are not just mixing ingredients, you're creating a system, a method, a natural formula designed to help your body heal in ways you may not have experienced in years. Each spice carries its own strengths, its own unique energies, its own ways of calming inflammation and restoring comfort. But when they blend, when they merge inside your body, something remarkable happens. They begin supporting one another, amplifying one another, filling the gaps that each spice alone cannot fill. What you create is not a drink, not a remedy, but a daily ritual of restoration. Think about how your body works. Healing doesn't happen in one place at a time. Healing is a network. Your joints, your circulation, your nerves, your immune system, they are all connected. When one suffers, the others follow. But when one begins to improve, the others rise with it. That is exactly what happens when these 4 spices enter your system together. Turmeric reduces deep inflammation. Ginger calms pain signals and improves movement. Cinnamon boosts circulation, so fresh nutrients reach your tissues, and cloves protect those tissues from further oxidative damage. It's a chain reaction of healing. One spice prepares the path for the next, and the next, and the next, until your entire body begins to shift from stress toward recovery. The process of using these spices together begins the moment they touch warm water. Warmth opens them, activates them, unlocks their compounds. As the heat rises, turmeric releases its golden curcumin, ginger releases its fiery oils, cinnamon melts into the liquid like a warming wave, and cloves slowly infuse their powerful antioxidants. It's almost symbolic. These spices come to life the way you want your joints to come back to life, slowly, gently, but powerfully. When this mixture enters your body, warmth becomes circulation, circulation becomes movement, movement becomes relief. At first, you may feel a soft warmth spreading through your stomach. Then, gradually, it moves outward. Your shoulders loosen, your back feels a little lighter, your fingers feel less tight, your legs feel easier to move. Some people feel the shift within minutes, others feel it over days. But almost everyone feels something. Because this formula doesn't rely on force. It relies on alignment. It works with your body instead of against it. There's something deeply empowering about making this mixture each day. It's not just a routine, it's a signal you send yourself. It's you saying, "Today I choose healing." And the body responds to consistency. The more you drink this blend, the more your inflammation drops, the more your circulation improves, the more your joints begin to trust movement again. The stiffness that felt permanent starts to soften. Pain that felt constant begins to fade into the background. Your mornings begin to feel different, lighter, easier, more alive. The beauty of this combination is that it doesn't just reduce pain, it transforms your internal environment. Inflammation doesn't stand a chance against something that reduces swelling, calms nerves, improves blood flow, and shields your tissues all at once. It's like opening the windows of a room that has been closed for months. Light comes in, air comes in, life comes in. That's what these spices do inside your body. Bring life into places that inflammation has darkened. And here's the part most people never realize. When you use these spices consistently, your body starts remembering how to heal itself. Your joints begin to rebuild strength, your tissues begin to repair faster, and your pain threshold begins to rise. You no longer wake up fearing that first step out of bed. You no longer brace yourself before standing up from a chair. You no longer hesitate before bending, lifting, stretching, or walking. Movement becomes natural again. Movement becomes yours again. There's something almost poetic about how simple this ritual is. A teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of ginger, a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon, a small pinch of cloves, and warm water. That's it. 4 simple spices. Yet together, They create something powerful, something many people spend years searching for through expensive pills, creams, and treatments. Relief doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it's the simple things, the quiet things, the natural things that bring the biggest change. Every time you drink this blend, you're giving your body a chance to feel better than it did yesterday. A chance to break free from the stiffness, the swelling, the fatigue, the limitations that have held you back. And if you make it a daily commitment, this simple mixture becomes not just a drink, but a turning point. A moment where your body begins the journey from pain to peace, from stiffness to strength, from limitation to freedom. Your body is not working against you. It's asking for help, and nature has already given you the tools. You just have to use them, so tomorrow morning, don't start your day with pain. Start it with power, with knowledge, with 4 simple spices that have helped millions of people regain their strength, mobility, and peace. Your relief begins the moment you decide it begins.